What a weekend. Brandi Glanville is speaking out. She's sharing footage from Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip with a message for Bravo on top of her latest photo, her latest selfie that looks a little botched. We also have Carol Radsdell talking about RONY and Lisa Vanderpump opening up about the end of Vanderpump Rules. I tell you right now, Mercury is definitely in the microwave and everything is getting fried. So we're about to talk about it. Let's pray we can get through today's episode. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hello. Welcome on in. I hope you guys had a great weekend. What a weekend, what a day, what a morning, what a life, right? And I'm not just talking about Brandi Glanville's face. Poor woman is struggling. But just the number of tech issues, you guys. One, I want to apologize. We still do not have, I'm trying to figure out what happened with our Apple Podcast feed. For some reason, there's no access on Apple Podcasts. So I don't know why there's no why the latest episodes aren't uploading or why they've been archived. The latest episode you can see on Apple Podcasts right now is November 22nd. Obviously, we've had a daily weekday show since then. So I'm trying to get it fixed with literally everybody that we can get on the phone. I don't know what happened with the feed or why it's delayed at the moment. But just know we will be back on Apple Podcasts very soon. Soon, as in like we needed to be back up a week ago because we've been down for several days now and we're trying to figure out what the issue is and it's driving me crazy. But just know that as much as it plagues you, it doesn't hurt anybody more than it hurts me because Apple is our biggest distributor. So Apple, get your fucking shit together. Let's get this fixed ASAP. But we are still on Spotify, so go and subscribe and listen exclusively on Spotify, or you can watch and live stream on YouTube. Everything with the Pop Report seems to be fine. Everything with Disaster Dater seems to be fine. So no issues there. But fingers crossed, all the tech issues are going crazy. I don't know what's going on, but I promise you I'm trying. I have a migraine today. When I have a migraine, I get the auras. I don't know if anybody can relate, but like when you have that migraine and you can't like see anything because your vision's all blurry. So we're going to try to get through this show with like partially blurred vision. Check your distribution site. Yes, my love, we're checking everything. We're talking to the distributor. We're talking to the old distributor. We're talking to Apple. I'm talking to Jesus. So I'm talking to everybody. Been podcasting a long time. I know all the tricks. It was Bill Smith's evil plan to get the podcast blocked. I saw Bill Smith, Joe. Yeah, we'll get into that. I know we have to do a members only, but because the Apple feed is down, we can't get any of the members episodes up onto Apple Connect. So I promise we're working on it. Okay, but let's at least get into the ocular migraines are the worst. I get those. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Come again. Yeah. My brain is all over the place, but at least I'm not looking like Brandi Glanville. So let's talk about Brandi, okay? Poor thing was tweeting up a storm over the weekend and posted this new selfie of herself where she looks unrecognizable. She looks atrocious, if you ask me. But so she posted this photo and she put the caption, "Sick it." And then she went on a series of other tweets about Bravo and about her face and all these things, right? So she originally posted that she's back on Cameo, but the video that she posted talking about being back on Cameo. She looked great, right? She looked, fresh faced. She looked pretty. She looked cute. She had a little beanie on. And then she came out and said, guys, this is an old Cameo video. I used it to promote that I'm back on after a year plus hiatus. Let me share what I really look like and why I had to take a pause. Check your next post and suck it, haters, and effing suck it, haters. And then she posted this photo of herself, which looks really rough. And the caption says, "Sick it." And then she continues by saying, "What happened? I wish I knew. I've been in and out of the hospital this past year and a half, spent almost every dollar I have trying to figure it out. Some doctors say I have a parasite that jumps around my face. Some say that it's stress-induced edema. I personally say it's Bravo. So she's blaming Bravo for the reason her face looks like this. And then she posted even further, and she posted a video clip from Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip season 2, the one at Dorinda's Manor. And so it's this montage clip of her and Tamra Judge when they were all getting Liddy City at Dorinda's Manor and they were dancing. Remember, they brought out the giant inflatable penises, and then they were playing all these games and they were dry humping on each other and they were all drunk, being silly, and Jill Zarin was smacking Brandi's butt and all this stuff, right? And so Brandi basically said that she said, this is 100 times worse, referring to the footage she released from Ultimate Girls Trip season 2 at Dorinda's Manor. She said, this is 100 times worse than anything that happened in Morocco, and my life has been ruined for no reason. I've spent all of my money on doctors. My health is ruined. My looks are ruined. And I was rehired because of this behavior for the Morocco girls trip. Boom. She said, and I was rehired because of this behavior for the Morocco girls trip. So she's referring to, the drunken debauchery where they're dancing and titties out and all these things, right? And they're all kind of laughing. And Jill's like, oh my God, be careful, you're drunk. And so her and Tamra are, basically just being silly, loosey goosey, dry humping on each other, having fun, like a girls trip. Everyone gets drunk and they do their things and whatever, and they're having a good time. So I don't even know where to start because this was just the tirade that she went on over the weekend. So first up, her face. So it's not looking cute, right? If you really like zoom into it and look at it, so my initial impression was that she had that her filler has dissolved. And so here's the thing about filler, and this is why you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful because when you're filling your skin, usually if you put too much, you can overfill it, which still kind of stretches out the face. And so what happens with a lot of people that start filler and then they don't let the filler fully dissolve, they kind of just keep putting filler on top of filler on top of filler on top of filler, and they just keep going in for more and more filler. It just continues to widen your face. And that's why you have these people that look like the cat lady, right? Because their face is so big and so full of filler. And Brandi has in the past overfilled her face with filler. And so the issue that we see is that not only does it give you that balloon pillow face, but then when you work to get it resolved, it can have a result similar to this. Now, I'm not saying that this is the reason her face looks like this, where it's all kind of sunken in and it looks uneven, but it looks like either she had the filler dissolve naturally, and because over time, usually over like a 12-month period, filler in your face does dissolve over time. Okay. It does eventually, your body metabolizes it. And that's why people continue to go in for more filler. So in this case, it looks like the filler either has fully dissolved on its own after, a year and a half of her having these health issues, or she went and had it dissolved. What is the term for it? There's an actual name for it. And there's like a dissolving, because like if you don't like your filler, you can always have them work to dissolve it, and then your face kind of goes back to normal. But sometimes what can happen is it gets over dissolved, right? And there's too much filler, and not only does it dissolve the natural or the filler in your face, but also any natural hyaluronic acid, collagen, like all of that can start to deplenish as well. So Sultan on X says, I'm suspecting that she had hyaluronidase injections to dissolve it, right? So that's what you do to reverse filler, which unfortunately can lead to over dissolving. My theory is that she wants to get a facelift and her surgeon recommended she removes all the filler first so she can restore her face's natural anatomy. That's kind of what I assumed. I assumed either she let all the filler dissolve on its own, and usually when filler dissolves, it doesn't dissolve evenly. That's why people that get lip injections that don't keep up with it, sometimes they're a little uneven because, like I said, filler doesn't always dissolve easily, which is why you need a very skilled clinician to make sure that they're, injecting your face appropriately. And you shouldn't be going to different doctors. You shouldn't be, experimenting too much with, you want somebody that knows your face, that knows the anatomy of your face, that's a specialist in, facial aesthetics, all of that sort of stuff. Again, I don't know exactly what happened to her face. I mean, Sultan does seem to be making a pretty good point of like it maybe she, because she's had facial issues, she had the filler dissolved and it's dissolved unevenly. Unclear what she says that there's a doctor that says that she may have a parasite in her face. Sounds a little dangerous. Parasites do exist. And listen, parasites, most people think of like the digestive issues that you have with the parasite, but like parasites can happen in other instances as well. RFK Jr., I know the press and a lot of people give him a lot of shit for, they love to take that story about like, oh, well, he has worms in his brain. He was referring to a parasite that does happen. You can get parasites and they can, end up in different parts of your body, whether it's your brain or your face. That is possible. I mean, a parasite that big to be in her face does seem a little, you know, a bit of an interesting thing that's going on, but her face definitely has deflated and it doesn't look like it's deflating evenly. And I would imagine she hasn't kept up with her filler injections. But the interesting thing too is she's done events recently. She's gone to like openings of let's see if we can look up her Getty images and see if there's anything. Let's see, Brandi Glanville. And let's see what the most recent photos of her were. Newest published on Getty, right? Let's see. Because that'll show the most recent photos that she's taken. Okay, it looks like she did the grand opening of the Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Clinic in West Hollywood. And she also, yeah, she did it with Phaedra and with Phaedra and with Taylor Armstrong. And she doesn't look like amazing in these photos, let's be honest. These are from Paul Archuleta on Getty Images. So you can kind of see that her face doesn't look the best, but it doesn't look as bad as it is in the photo that she posted on X. Like her face looks a little distorted, but like with the makeup and everything, she looks fine. Like it doesn't look as sunken in as it does in the most recent photo. And this opening, when was this? The opening was April 25th. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So this was 7 months ago. So it's interesting that 7 months ago her face looked relatively normal, but then on the right now she seems to have, all this unevenness. So I mean, I don't know if she is planning to get a facelift or what, but it's definitely not looking good for her, poor thing. But yeah, like I said, this photo is from Paul Archuleta on Getty Images, which was at the grand opening of the Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Clinic in West Hollywood, and this was just in April. Taylor and Phaedra were there with Brandi. I believe like John Gosling was also there. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Stephanie says, look at the eyebrow bone not affected. Um, Zach Marianne said that picture was posted previously. That same photo, she hasn't posted that photo previously. I've watched all the other photos. She's posted other photos, but she's not posted that specific photo. I've never seen her look this bad. Yeah, she's posted other photos of her face. Let's see. What other photos she posted where she didn't look the greatest? She's done stuff with Kristen Takeman and she's hung out with Kristen Takeman, but I guess okay, so see, here's another photo that she posted, and this was on July 24th. And she said, this is why I'm miserable and depressed. I'm not even gonna share the picture of when it sinks in. Oh, when it sinks in. Stress will kill you. How's your well, take care of yourself, people. Thank you. Bravo. I couldn't even work if I wanted to. So this is what her face looks like. So apparently this is like her looking swollen, um, which very different from the photo that she just posted over the weekend. So it seems like she swells and then maybe it's like an allergic reaction to filler. So it looks like she's been filling her face with filler. Because if you look at this and you look at kind of the unevenness in her skin tone, it looks like she's just injecting a bunch of filler. And so that's why in this photo, it looks like the filler's dissolved. This just looks like an unfilled face, but it looks like a very deflated face, which could be from overfilling your face and you're stretching the skin, and it's not helping her at all. Major facelift upcoming. I mean, yeah, I would think so, and I would hope so, just so that she can feel confident again, right? RM says, "Well, filler dissolves, it never dissolves. It never fully dissolves and migrates. Too much may also stretch the skin, but it's never fully dissipates." Yeah, absolutely. Christopher says, "Make it stop." I know, sorry, I keep putting the photo on the screen. She looks like a burn victim. She doesn't look like a burn victim. Um, she should get a regular job like the rest of us. I mean, it is possible. John Goslin did it, remember? He was, like, waiting tables at, what was it, like, Chili's? TGI Fridays? Russ says she has to come up with some money for the facelift first, unless somebody's willing to do it on trade, right? Like, let's say, like, ooh, like botched, right? Like, oof, you look rough. Let's fix you up. Let's patch you up and put you back together, and we'll show everybody like what amazing work I can do. Unless it gets worse, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Brandy. I mean, let's be real, putting chemicals into your face, who knows what can happen? That's why you have to be careful and you have to be frugal. Is filler the same thing as Botox? No. Filler and Botox are very different. So filler is hyaluronic acid to like fill in your face to like make it fuller. Botox is what paralyzes the muscles. That way you don't get wrinkles. So Botox is to help prevent wrinkles or to smooth out your face so that your face doesn't move, so that you don't see any wrinkles or that they don't sink in and settle in, and then you have those skin folds on your face, right? Filler is very different. Filler is just to add volume to your face. Botox usually lasts about like 3 to 4 months, and filler can last like up to around a year before it can. I mean, some people say it fully dissolves, other people say, like they said in the live chat, it doesn't fully dissolve, it kind of migrates into other areas or other parts of your body, because it does get metabolized. But some people say that like filler never goes away, which can, I'm sure, be the case. I'm sure her cameos are top notch. I don't know. She can solicit for some donation from Leanne Rhymes. I don't know if Leanne's looking to pay for her face after everything that she put Leanne through. And now she's like, "Hey, Leanne, you want to fix my face?" Leanne's going to be like, "Yeah, no, that's your karma, baby." But so let's get back to the video that she posted from Ultimate Girls Trip. Because on Ultimate Girls Trip, she was accused of, violating Caroline. And so, here's the video of her that she posted online, and it's basically just this montage to an Eminem song. This looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me because we need a little controversy because it feels so empty without me. And so it's basically Brandy and Tamra Judge, you know, grinding on everybody and having a good time. And so some people are saying that yes, that's yes, they're doing that. And even though Brandy claims that this is worse than what allegedly happened in Morocco, they're saying, but these women on Ultimate Girls Trip season 2 were consenting, and Caroline's claiming that she did not consent to this sort of behavior. But when you do look at it, like Brandy's grinding up on other women and they're smacking her butt, and Brandy's like, "Here, smack my butt, smack my butt." And then Brandy's like doing titties and like doing all of these things and touching all these other women, and they're all being silly, right? They're all being silly and all kind of pushing those boundaries because they're drunk, they're on a girls trip, and they're just having fun. And so Brandy says that she, was hired again for the Morocco trip because of how well the season 2 went, right? And that was their most, I think it was their highest rated Ultimate Girls Trip on Peacock. Season 1 was when they went to Turks and Caicos. Season 2 was at Dorinda's Manor. And then season 3 was when they went to Thailand. Remember, with Heather Gay and Whitney Rose and Portia and Leah and Marisol and Alexia and all of them, right? So, I mean, watching this video, watching this montage and seeing them all drunk and dancing and grinding on each other, it does, to me, kind of put things into a different context, because it's like, well, if what Brandy is claiming, what happened in Morocco wasn't nearly as risque as what we saw at Dorinda's Manor, even if what happened at Dorinda's Manor happened in Morocco, would we still consider that assault necessarily. Like, that's where it gets a little dicey because then everyone's like, well, but Caroline felt this way. Caroline felt violated. And one person was even like, yeah, Caroline, what happened? You can give consent and then you can withdraw your consent afterwards. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not my understanding of consent. My understanding is if you give consent, then you give consent to someone to do something. And so you have to also put in the context that this isn't a she said, right? This isn't Brandi says this and Caroline says this, but it all happened behind closed doors and nobody has any sort of evidence. So it's just a she said, this party versus this party. We have all of the women that were on Ultimate Girls Trip, all of which have come out in Brandi's defense now. Camille has come out in Brandi's defense and gone on record. Phaedra, Gretchen, Vicky just came out again. She commented on Brandi's video saying, this was just yesterday on Sunday. Vicky said, I was there and Brandi is 100% correct that, this was 100 times worse at Dorinda's Manor than what we saw in Morocco. So Vicky's again coming to Brandi's defense. So if you have all of the cast that has publicly gone and defended Brandi and said that what Caroline claims happened, they did not see it happen. Not only that, but you also have all of the crew members and producers that were also witness to this because they were all on set. Okay. They have gone on record in the third party investigation, and none of them have backed up Caroline's claims. Okay. Then we take it a step further. There was also video and footage of everything that has also been reviewed in a third party investigation. And not only that, but NBC took all of the audio and all of the footage and voluntarily submitted it in court in an effort to have Caroline's case dismissed. So when you have all of the cast members that have publicly gone on record, you have all of the crew members and producers that went on record during the investigation, and you have audio and video footage, that is all objective evidence, right? That have all disproven Caroline's account. They said that the findings of their investigation showed that Caroline felt disrespected, but in no way was she assaulted. Okay. That's the thing. You can't have my personal feelings and my personal feelings go against the objective truth because you can say there are three sides to every story, this side, that side, and then the truth, which lies somewhere in the middle. Well, the truth that lies somewhere in the middle has evidence to back it up. It's not a third party account. There's video and footage of what was shown, of what actually happened. Michelle says, considering everyone is so afraid of being canceled, there's no way they'd stick up for Brandi unless they were really confident that nothing happened. That's the thing. None of these women had to speak out. Gretchen has spoken out. Vicky has spoken out. Camille, who hasn't even had a good history with Brandi, has spoken out. Alex McCord is still very friendly with Brandi, and you can see comments and likes her posts all the time. If Alex McCord, who is allegedly, comforting Caroline, and trying to help Caroline through whatever she was processing, if Alex McCord is still being super friendly with Brandi, that seems to tell me that Brandi didn't do something that was so, inappropriate that, Alex McCord couldn't forgive, as Caroline's claiming, you know? Brittany says people need to read the room on how other people react. Caroline would never give me the vibe that I can do that to her, but then Caroline should have read Brandi and not entertained her at all. That's the thing. What we do have is not just not evidence of Brandi violating Caroline. We have footage and audio and testimony of Caroline surprisingly engaging in this behavior. And they have quotes that Brandi's attorney submitted saying something like, "Oh, well, I've kissed a woman before, but I've never had a woman kiss me back before." So that's why it's like, well, then when we have these quotes, we have that these statements that Caroline made, we have footage, we have audio. Caroline continued to film. So from what it's been reported, Caroline continued to film even after Brandi was removed. She went and had a conversation with the other women, and it wasn't until some of the other women began questioning Caroline's, statements that then Caroline stopped filming and wanted the whole thing shut down altogether, and she ended up flying home early. So it seemed like she didn't get the reaction from the women that she was expecting, and maybe that kind of persuaded her to maybe not feel like they were supporting her. I don't know. Let's see. Safari says, Alex is a psychologist. I believe, yes, she is. Tiki Torch says, Bravo et al. Does exchange harassment and assault, though. Remember the dad abusing the women on Real Housewives of New York and Sonia for years? The women were visibly and verbally frustrated. I don't know what you're referring to be honest. Um, get your eyes and teeth done. Me? You're telling me to get my eyes and my teeth done? I got my eyes done last year. I got LASIK done, and my teeth we're in the process of getting my teeth done. Why you gotta come in here and oh, Stephanie is saying, "Fillers are not your friend. A facelift can help depend on the surgeon. I suggest with age, you know, wrinkles are attractive. I'm about to turn 62 next March. No wrinkles, but get your eyes and teeth done." Okay. Sarah says, "If everybody really is on Brandy's side, why can't she get a real lawyer?" Well, what is Brandi gonna get a lawyer for? That's the thing. There's no lawsuit against Brandi Glanville. The lawsuit is against Bravo and NBC and the affiliate companies that produce Ultimate Girls Trip. Caroline isn't suing Brandi. There are no criminal charges against Brandi. There's no criminal suit against Brandi. It's a civil lawsuit where Caroline is suing the network. So, yeah, I don't know. Laura says, allegedly, wasn't Caroline saying things about her family that she didn't want aired as well? That was another rumor that was going around that she was making claims about Dina, and that led to, an argument between Brandi and Caroline earlier on the trip was about, some of the things and some of the derogatory remarks that Caroline had made against Dina. And so there was speculation that maybe part of the reason Caroline doesn't want the show aired isn't necessarily with Brandi, but it's because she's trying to prevent the comments that she made about Dina, allegedly. She doesn't want that to come out. Caroline needs those taxes they didn't pay. I mean, I don't know. Brandi was not liked. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying Brandi's the most liked or that Brandi's the most appropriate, but I don't think, Sarah says, I thought Brandi was trying to sue Bravo, but the suit keeps getting dropped. Well, there's never been a suit that has been filed. And I think it's because Brandi's claims are that the network encouraged her to behave this way. And as a result of this, as a result of the allegations Caroline has made, because the network didn't speak out, Brandi's income has been significantly impacted. But here's the thing, Bravo can't control the allegations that Caroline made against Brandi. Bravo has no control over what one woman says over the other. Brandi's upset that Bravo didn't come out to defend her, but Bravo also had, a formal legal process they had to watch play out, which is why they had to make sure they did a third party investigation. They had to compile all of the footage and audio all raw and then submit that in court and have the case dismissed. If Brandi would have just been patient and allowed Bravo to do their thing, I think the network would have, absolutely, found a way to defend Brandi in some way. But, they can air the show and vindicate her as well. Yes, but Michelle says Bravo has no legal obligation to defend her, unfortunately. That's correct. At the end of the day, Bravo has to protect Bravo, right? And if Brandi happens to be a casualty as a result of allegations that Caroline made against her, Bravo doesn't have, a vested interest to necessarily protect Brandi given Brandi's history. So that's where it gets a little dicey. And I understand Brandi's frustrations, but I don't know. It's very interessante. Okay, let's get into Kara Radsville talking about New York, Lisa Vanderpump talking about Vanderpump Rules ending, and maybe we'll even touch on some of this Jay-Z stuff. But before we get into all of that, I want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by Zippix. Zippix are nicotine toothpicks. Zippix brings you totally satisfying, convenient, and great tasting nicotine fix anywhere without having to rely on smoking or vaping. Zippix, dun, 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 got it right here for you. Zippix gives you an easier, better, and more discreet way to get your fix. They're available in 6 long-lasting flavors. I got them all right here. Look at here's peppermint watermelon. This one is Spice Island clove. We've also got mocha, and we've got cinnamon. So, I mean, listen, these would be a great solution for Dorit because we know Dorit's been ripping them up, ripping those cigs on this season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Zippix are perfect for flights, they're perfect for sporting events, restaurants, and literally everywhere else that smoking and vaping are banned. They're also one of the most cost effective nicotine products on the market. Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks if you're not a nicotine user or if you're trying to get away from that nicotine habit. Zippix have already helped tens of thousands of customers get their nicotine fix without needing to inhale, smoke, or vape oils. Make your lungs happy and try Zippix nicotine infused toothpicks. Ditch the cigarettes. Dorit, I'm talking to you. Ditch the cigarettes, ditch the vape, and get some nicotine infused toothpicks at zippixtoothpicks.com. Zippix is spelled Zippix. Zippix, Zippix, toothpicks.com today. Get 10% off your first order by using code NOFILTER at checkout. Your lungs will be glad you did, okay? Use code NOFILTER at zippixtoothpicks.com today. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Also, it is the holiday season. The holiday season. Do. If you want to kick off your New Year's goals a little bit early, Lipazine is a weight management supplement that helps customers reach their desired weight by helping them feel fuller faster. With over 35 million bottles sold, Lipazine is one of America's most trusted weight management supplements. Lipazine fits into any lifestyles. There are no drastic changes. It contains no stimulants. It is non GMO. There's no gluten in it. And it's caffeine free, which means there are no jitters. It's also shipped discreetly right to your door. So starting at just $29.95, you have 1 month to try it. If you don't like the results that you get, you can call them back and return it for the purchase price. Terms and conditions do apply. Shipping is absolutely free. Listen, some supplements can cost up to like $500 a month. And with Lipazine, you can get started for just $29.95, a price that is accessible to just about anyone. Lipazine contains chemicals that are, it contains glucosamine, and it has the ability to support weight management with the combination of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle. The fiber in lipazine can absorb water and expand up to 200 times its weight. This is what helps you feel fuller quicker when you take it with water before meals. So, to start losing weight with lipazine, all you need to do is take 2 capsules with an 8-ounce glass of water at least 30 minutes before your 3 largest meals of the day. And listen, if no 2 days are the same, don't worry about it because you can easily tailor your lipazine dosage to fit your changing schedule. All right. So if you want to give them a try for a trial offer, go to lipazine.com. So for a trial offer, go to lipazine.com and be sure to use promo code NOFILTER. Okay. Give a Lipazine a try. Get that trial offer right now at Lipozene, Lipozene, lipozene.com, and use promo code NOFILTER. Go right. Okay. Whew. Let's see. What do we want to touch on next? Carol Radswell opening up about um Carol Radsville is opening up about Real Houses of New York on the Dumois podcast. So she said that the old RONY, because people keep asking for the original OGs to come back, they want the legacy cast to return. All the veterans, people are missing them, and they're not loving the new RONY because the reboot sucks. So Carol Radsville is saying that even if you did bring, she says that she hopes that the new RONY, she says continues to do well, but I'm like, is it really doing that well? But she wants them to succeed and carry on the legacy of RONY because she says even if the older cast does come back, she says that it wouldn't be the same because it's a whole different environment now, which I do agree with, right? Culturally, we've shifted. So bringing back the OGs wouldn't give us the same show anymore, which is what we saw in the final season with Leah and with Ebony. Like culturally, the show and Housewives and just the world that we're in, completely, completely different environment. So I get her point of like it wouldn't be the same show as much as we miss the older cast and as much as I would love to see them back on again. I think we just have to appreciate what we have and know that, that is now broken. We're not going to be able to fix it because this reboot is definitely not the solution. But now we just have to appreciate what was and find our next greatest hit. And I think Beverly Hills is definitely having a high moment right now. I think people are enjoying Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I think it's definitely the moment, right? But speaking of things that have been rebooted, we have Vanderpump Rules. Lisa Vanderpump is opening up to the ladies on Access Hollywood. So she was talking to Lauren Herbert at Access Hollywood. I believe Lauren and Emily are the hosts of the Housewives Nightcap. And so while interviewing Lisa Vanderpump for Access Hollywood, she says that it was time for Vanderpump Rules to get back to the original premise of the show, which was to follow all of these cast members that were struggling, waiters and waitresses wanting to make it in Hollywood, and they were busting tables at Sir. Bust down, Tatiana. Let me see you bust down. So Lisa wants them to bust down the tables at Sir. So she told Access Hollywood that they told the story of the old servers, and now she's ready to move on. She's ready to tell some new stories. She said that, it was tough because in this most recent season, this one didn't want to film with this one, and this one didn't want to be in the same room as that one because people were getting testy. And she's really just saying Ariana without saying Ariana. But it is true. People, were refusing to film with other people and refusing to engage with other people. And when you do that, you hinder the show. So when I saw Lala at the reunion being like, yeah, Ariana, when you're saying that you don't want to actually have a moment to film the finale where you're supposed to engage with your other cast members and you refuse to and you walk out of the finale party, that does hinder the show. And it ultimately did, and it got the show canceled. Or it was at least a big contributing factor as to how the show got canceled. But Lisa Vanderpump says that she loves the OG cast, but it was just time to call it a day. And she also says that she doesn't know if the network made the decision based off of the cast salaries, because that was a rumor that was going around that the salaries were too high, that the network couldn't afford to pay all of the legacy cast members their extremely high salary. Because if you think about it, Housewives generally has like at most 6 or 7 housewives. At times, I think 6 has been the most, but sometimes they've had friends of that make the cast. They round it out at about 8 different women on the cast, but those are not all legacy cast members. Those aren't all season 1 OGs. Those aren't all full-time housewives, right? Whereas with Vanderpump Rules, these cast members, Sheena was a day 1 cast member. Katie was a day 1 cast member. Tom Sandoval was a day 1 cast member. I think those were the only 3 legacy. Schwartz came on in season 2, and so did Ariana. So those were at least 2 long-standing veteran cast members. They weren't officially contracted as full-time cast members in season 1 because it was Jax, Kristen, and Stassi. And then eventually they brought in Schwartz. Eventually they brought in Ariana. And then a couple seasons after that came Lala and James. So all of these cast members had been on the show for a very long time. But those are some really steep salaries, and I understand where after a while it does become too expensive. But Lisa Vanderpump is saying she doesn't know if that was a factor in the network's decision to want to reboot the show. But she says, at least from her standpoint, she absolutely was ready to move on from these stories and wanted to tell new stories. I don't know if that's the smartest choice. I guess it's the only thing you can do with Vanderpump Rules is kind of just hope for the best. I know they reported that there was going to be some sort of, or there was a plan to do some sort of send off, like a legacy special that they were planning on doing for the veteran cast members, that they were going to do some sort of, maybe it's going to be 1 episode or 2 parts or 2 nights or whatever. There's no clarity on what that will look like, but there are plans from the network to do some sort of special around the original cast to be able to move forward and wrap that up with a nice little bow. But we'll have to see. She says that she was also sad to see Schwartz and Sandy's close down at the same time the Vanderpump Rules was announced that it was shutting down. She's like, that maybe wasn't the best time for that, but eh, I don't know. We shall see. But okay, so here's the thing. She did hint at one cast member returning to Vanderpump Rules for this next season. Remember, Ariana was on the red carpet at, what was it, the Hollywood Reporter event? And Ariana was saying, listen, if they want to film it, something about her, we would welcome them in with open arms. I don't think we're going to get any filming at something about her, to be honest with you. But they asked, would any of the legacy cast members do any cameos? And she said that of all of them, there is one cast member that she can foresee coming on the show. And no, it's not Peter Madrigal. I mean, sure, Peter, I guess, would also be a natural fit because he's the manager at Sir, which, like, is that what he's gonna do forever? Like, bro, what did you just fall out of a coconut tree? What else are you gonna do now? It's Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz, because she says he has such an active role at TomTom, that she thinks that she could see Tom Schwartz actually coming back and being part of the new show moving forward. So interesting. Are we excited about Tom Schwartz? I mean, I love me some Schwartzy, but she says that since he will have, I mean, she still owns TomTom. She has no stake in Jax's Studio City. She has no stake in Brits, and she has no stake in Something About Her. So Lisa's obviously going to continue to promote her own shows or her own restaurants. And Sir and TomTom are the only two restaurants she has left here in Los Angeles. So I would imagine those are going to be the restaurants that um, we see people at or see people filming at. Danielle wants to know if we're what I think about Heather Gay's book for book club. I'm down for it. Let's go. Book club, Heather Gay's book. We can read it. We'll add it for a book club. Let me get the Apple podcast feed fixed. Again, I apologize, guys. You can still subscribe and listen and watch on Spotify or always here on YouTube. But unfortunately, we're trying to get the Apple feed up and running ASAP, or as my grandfather would say, ASP. We need to get this done ASP. And we would always poke fun at him and laugh. Okay. I'm going to be on Carlos King's podcast this week. So get ready for that. That's going to be fun. And stay tuned. Lots of fun to come. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into No Filter with Zack Peter. That's me. You can give me a follow at Just Plain Zack all over the internet, or follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack on Instagram. Like I said, you can always live stream the show first thing in the morning, weekday mornings on YouTube, or you can catch it on all podcast feeds, with exception for Apple. Island Mommy of 4 says, not having Apple working has sent me over here to finally be in the live chat. Well, I'm glad. Continue to spread the word. No Filters available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify. We're working very hard to get it fixed on Apple. We'll talk about Jay-Z tomorrow. Yes, he was only because we are running out of time. And I do have to wrap up. We're already at the 40-minute mark. I have to wrap up. We will do members only this week. We're gonna, as soon as the Apple situation gets fixed, I promise we will have everything back on track. Thank you for your patience. Tell Mercury to get out of the microwave so that we can get everything back on track. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll be back tomorrow, and I promise we will dedicate a whole chunk of it to Jay-Z on the podcast. And we're obviously going to touch on it on the Pop Report as well. We'll probably cover it more on the Pop Report. But, well, oh, Ashton Kutcher. What's going on with Ashton Kutcher? Okay, I'm going to have to look into Ashton Kutcher and Jay-Z. We want Jay-Z talk. I know. We will talk about Jay-Z, guys. We just ran out of time today. But the headline is that he was accused of assaulting a 13-year-old. So and there's all the Beyonce with it, which is crazy. And like, she was like young when they started dating, and he'd been like, pursuing her since 16. We'll get into it. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Ciao for now. Bye. Oh, and get your new merch. Get the merch. Get the merch. Get the merch. The link is in the description below. Shop the new Zack pack and Zacktivated merch right now.